starting bit.
I was thinking that you'll be starting at 10 a.m.
No, because... welcome everyone, we'll be starting a bit. I'm just posting the link so people can find it. You need to get your book and pencil there. Good morning everyone, I'm just posting links so people can find it. We'll be starting at 10 o'clock.
Daddy, what age is this for?
7 plus.
And somebody's Gemma Way is asking what age it is for.
The age is for 7 plus, I'd say, although my boy is 6 and he's having a go, and you'll be surprised what you learn in this lesson for things you might not know.
How do you wear this?
Have you got your pen ready here?
Yeah. Why did it show you?
Touch check, you need to touch check. Hello to Rosie and Charlie from Portsmouth. Hello to Ollie and Harry. Hello Callan again. Hello Neve. Evie Olivia, good to see you back again as well. Good morning everyone. Alexa, stop. Okay guys, we're going to get started. First of all, I've had a bit of a haircut, I'm afraid. It was to raise money for the NHS from one of my friends who's also a teacher, called #buzzing for the NHS. And the idea is you cut your own hair and you donate the money from the haircut, not any extra money, just what you spend on that, to his page going straight to the NHS. It was a little shorter than I expected, so I am very thankful that I have hats to wear for this lesson, especially because my son Theo cut most of it. So we're going to learn about a lot of cool stuff today, and you'll be surprised if you're there with your parents, or even if you're not, you'll be surprised that they might not even know what we are doing today. Lots of people forget how to do this, and it's to do with adding, subtracting, dividing, all those mathematical operations we use. We're going to be looking at some puzzles, and we're going to play a big game of time bingo at the end with some very special prizes where the people who win the bingo will be part of a magic trick we're going to do at the beginning of the next lesson. Okay, so we're going to do quite a bit of maths, but have some fun as well. So we're going to get started with just checking that you can add, subtract, divide, multiply, and also I want to see which ones of you understand how to do indices. Okay, so we'll have a go at these. Can you have a go at these to start with, please? So we've got 15 questions for you. Start with the plus and the add and subtract ones, then look at the times and divide ones, and then we'll look at the indice ones. I'll give you some hints on those if you're not quite sure what they mean. Okay, some of you will definitely not have done those yet at all, but let's just see what you can do with them. Okay, so start with those, work your way through, get yourself warmed up, obviously without a calculator, and we'll see how you go. Please, if you need any help as well, on the chat, give me your name so I can see who's here and everything. Big shout out to Isabel and Amelia from Wallingham, and hi to Leo as well. Morning to Evie, back to you. Hi Lucy. Ethan as well. Good to have you here. Layla, age 8 in Scotland as well. Brilliant. Okay, so just seeing which of those you can do to start. Be accurate, don't get these ones wrong, especially if you know you can do them. Going to write a clue about the indice ones on the board as in what they mean. Just going to put a clue up there. Some of you might know this already. So for question 11, 3 squared actually means 3 times itself. That's all it means. That's all an index means. This little power there is called an index, or indices as a plural, and that's what 3 squared means. Okay?
Okay then.
Good morning to Jacob, Tej, Lucas, Nell and Jack as well. Hello Tom. Anyone need any help with anything, please put a question on the chat. Lucy done already. Wow, okay, that's impressive. Even question 15. Question 15 is extremely hard. You wouldn't even need question 15 until you get to high school. Olivia finished as well. Okay, no problem. So I'll just go through these again. So if you don't know indices, okay, that's absolutely fine. You're not going to need them much for this lesson anyway, so don't worry about it. But this little number there, that tells you how many times to multiply this number by itself. So 3 squared, that's what we call a 2 squared. 3 to the power 2 means 3 times itself. Okay, if we go on to question 12, okay, 4 squared is going to mean 4 times itself. 4 times 4. And then you just work out the answers. Now, I think this is a really important thing to get used to early on, because so many people later on, when they get to high school, because they haven't done it much in primary school, they just make mistakes with that and they think it means 3 times 2. But it doesn't mean 3 times 2. It means 3 times itself. So have a look at those ones there. Okay, 15, really difficult. If you manage that one, well done. We're going to put the answers up in about a minute's time so we can move on to the main part of the lesson. You okay, Bit?
I'm just double 36 times
That's
2.
double, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
times 2. It's a double 36.
Yeah, and Daddy, I think I have actually heard index before.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I've talked about them before. But timesing by 2 is also the same as doubling. So there's lots of different ways to times by 2. I think it's easiest to double the 36 rather than just doing 36 twos will take ages. So there's different methods you can use to try and make it faster and easier for you.
23 times 2. Well, 3 times 2 is 60. If I add 12 on, gets you 2.
So 15, if we are there with 3 cubed,
40.
okay, so question 15, I'll give you a little hint here. 3 cubed, this 3 tells you how many times to times it by itself. So it's the same as doing this. 3 times 3, and then whatever answer you get, times it by 3 again. Don't add them together, it means 3 3s, and then times that by 3 again as well. So some pretty tricky maths to do there with that one. Okay, we're going to have a look at these answers now, okay? So, doing great with that, and don't worry, if you haven't done these indices ones yet, absolutely fine. Nearly all the lessons are going to be about timesing, adding, subtracting, but with it in a slightly different way. Okay, so there your answers are for the minus and divide ones. Okay, so have a look at those ones first. So just check your work, check how accurate you've been there. Okay, it's mental maths. If you've done some writing down, if you've done some working out, that's fine. But a lot of this you're probably just doing in your heads. Okay, if you know your times tables, those are incredibly easy. If you don't know them, you're going to be adding them up, aren't you? Which still works, but when you can learn your times table, that is absolutely a brilliant thing to do. It will help you so much later on. Okay, so you've got 9, 21, 14, 19, 82, 21, 40, 24, 72 and 42. And then we've also got, for the indice ones, I'll put those answers up. Okay, your indice answers, 3 times 3 is 9. I've shown you what you need to do for those. You put the times in there, 100. And the last one, 3 times 3 is 9, then 9 times 3 is 27. Okay? So we call this squaring when it's a 2, and we call this cubing. It all links in with volume and area as well. but really important to just know what those mean. Even if you can't quite work them out yet, just try and get used to memorising what those little powers mean, what indices mean, as soon as possible. Okay, right, so on to the main part of the lesson. So, punctuation and the order we read them is really important here. I've got a famous quote on the board that I'm going to read out there. A famous quote from a very, very famous person. Me cold, the anyway bothered, never. Okay, so that's a very famous quote. I'm sure you recognise that quote. If anyone thinks they know who said that, okay, I'm sure you'll know. You're probably old enough to know this person. Does anyone know who said that? Me cold, the anyway bothered, never. Anyone know where that comes from at all? Okay, it's a very famous quote. I'm surprised you haven't all heard that before. Very famous quote. Okay, it's just a sentence there. I might not have got it in the right order, but you know, does that matter? Okay, so no one knows where that quote comes from. Okay, as I said, the order we read in is really, really important. So I'm going to give you a clue now. I think you'll get where this comes from in a bit here. How do you not get this quote? Here it comes.
Oh my.
The finale. There it is. There's the quote. Don't know how you can get that. Of course, the order was wrong, wasn't it? Okay, so the order we read in is really, 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 really important. And you know what? In English, we read from left to right. In different countries, in Japan, they read from right to left. Different countries, different orders. Now, maths is the same everywhere. We read the same way in maths. So, the order is really important. So I want you to see if you can work out that 3 plus 4 times 2. Post your answers on the chat. Remember, the order is important.
3, 4.
Yeah, now of course you didn't recognise that last quote because it was in a different order. Doesn't make sense, does it? Maths does not make sense unless you do it in the right order. Everyone would get completely different answers. So what is the answer to this question? 2 different answers already. We've got 11 and we've got 14. 14 again, lots of 14s. 14 is a popular answer. And 11, so we've got 2 different answers. Can we not add up? Can we not times? Have you got an answer here?
Yeah.
You got 14 as well, okay. Easy 10 there. How have we got 10 there? 3, 4, 5, I think you might have made a mistake there. We've got 10. We've got 11s and 14 seem like the right answers. And 11 from Matilda, age 12. Matthew says 11 as well. That's your friend Thea. Matthew says 11. Matthew says 11, you say 14. It's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so here we go. Here is the thing. In maths, we don't always read left to right. Certain things, pluses, times, divided, we have a different order we do things in. Okay, and not a lot of adults even know this. So many adults get this wrong. When they look at some problems made up for adults on Facebook that adults are getting wrong. Okay, loads of them are getting it wrong. So what we do in maths, we always times before we add. Okay, I'm going to show you what I mean on the board here. We always times before we add. This is a really, really important rule to start using early on. So when we're doing 3 times 4, sorry, it's a plus, isn't it? When we're doing 3 plus 4 times 2, the first thing we do is 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8, so I always like to write that down underneath and then do the next line. 3 plus 8 is certainly not 14, is it? 3 plus 8 equals 11. So well done, those people that got 11 on that, absolutely fantastic. The order we do things in maths is so important, just like reading. No one knew that famous quote from the film Frozen because I put the letters in a different order. Okay, of course you wouldn't. It meant a load of rubbish. It made no sense. Maths doesn't make sense unless you do it in the right order. So we always times before we add. In fact, it's a bit more than that. We always multiply and divide before we add or subtract. So timesing and dividing always comes first. Then we add or subtract. Okay? So I've got some questions on the board which are actually going to be quite tricky now because we're going to get our heads around this. Remember, you do the timesing first. So on the first one, we're going to do the 5 times 2 first. Write that down. Then we're going to do the 4 plus that answer. Okay, so we've got to get our heads used to doing this. So whenever we see it, we do it in that order. So let's have a go at that. If anyone's still not sure what I'm talking about, please let me know. So times first, then add. Okay? Okay, and this is always true. Alright, unless they tell you to do it in a different order, in this particular question they say do this first, then this. We just always times first. And if you've got a proper calculator, your calculator will automatically, if you put that in, it will automatically do the timesing first. Okay, but I know not a lot of people know it because we read from left to right. So we've got to think about this. So have a go at those 8 questions. Okay, you don't need to post the answers here, just write them in your books, on your paper, on your whiteboards, and then we'll look at the answers in a bit. And then we'll move on to the next bit, because there's different things we do in different orders. Okay, you got that?
Yeah, how are you coming down?
Okay, just wait, okay. Go on. Which one's yours, this one?
Yes, please.
Okay, and I get some of those questions then. All the people that got 11, brilliant. And don't worry if you got 14, the whole point of this is about learning something new, isn't it? If I'm just telling you something you already know, not learning loads of stuff. Those that did get 11, we're going to look at some hard questions anyway. Be really careful with number 5 as well. That one hurts your heads a bit as well. Okay, so you know you do first and third, so what's the first thing we're going to do?
10 and then, so that equals 10.
I'd write the 10 down just underneath it so you know, and then you're doing 4 plus 10, aren't you?
Equals 14.
Very good, okay. See, isn't that strange? And you also did it in the other order, didn't you?
Yeah, there must be different people in Japan. Maybe quite.
Well, no, because they still need to do timesing before they add, so it's not always right to left. We normally go left to right, and then if you get a, depending what you get, if you times or divide, you do them in a different order. Okay, we'll have to try the next one. Easy when you know how.
Times 3. 12.
Okay, just another minute on this. People doing really well. Don't worry, we haven't done them all. In fact, if you have finished that, I'll put, if you finish all those, I'll put a superstar challenge on the board. Okay, very difficult question on the board there if you finished all those ones. So number 5 can be quite tricky. If you're stuck in number 5, write down the answer to 3 times 2 first. So it's, and then write down 20 minus whatever your answer is to 3 times 2. Write down another line. That will really, really help. If you write down 20 minus your answer to 3 times 2, and then look at it and just work it out normally. This does confuse us because we get this stuck in our head first. But it's 20 minus whatever this answer is.
I don't really understand the fifth one.
So work out 3 times 2 first.
6.
Okay, and we've written the question down.
No.
So it's 20 minus
Minus.
6, isn't it? Because 3 times 2 is 6.
Yeah.
And now you can do that, can't you?
6, but
So what's 20 minus 6?
20 minus 6. 14.
14, that was really good.
And 20 divided by 2.
Right, okay, we're going to go through these now, and then you're going to get some more practice at this. Okay, now this one always gets people stuck on this. So I'm going to show you how to set it out, because our brains do this thing where we get a number stuck in our head, and that's the first number. But it's not, you're working out the second number in this one. Just want to look at question 5. So question 5 is 20 minus 3 times 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. So write it down underneath, and then write this bit in. Now some of you are saying you can't take 20 away from 6. Well, you can't unless you go into negative numbers. But this isn't saying do take 20 away from 6. This is saying do 20 minus 6. So look at that question there. It's not 6 take away 20. It's 20 minus 6. So your answer there has got to be 14. Okay, and this is, I've seen this time and time again. We get this number stuck in our heads. We've got to then reset it and realise this is the order you're doing in it. 20 take away that one there. Okay, so just think about that. It's particularly for minus ones. Okay, I've just done the Superstar Challenge, haven't I? It was 3 plus 7 times 4 minus 35, wasn't it? Okay, so if you're doing this one, you do 7 times 4 first. So that is 28. 3 plus 28 minus 35. You then just work from left to right. 3 plus 28 is 31. 31 take away 35. You can't do unless you go into negatives because you need 4 extra to make it work. So your answer will be negative 4. Okay, I'll put the other answer on the board for this one, and then we're going to move on to the next bit. Okay, so there they are. Just check your work. Check which ones you got right, please. Those of you, Olivia, Matilda, Jacob, Callan, for getting all those negative forwards right. Fantastic for those there. Okay, so close, -5, so close. Okay, don't worry about negative numbers like that at the moment. Okay, well done. Kyla Connolly for getting it right as well on the board, brilliant. Okay, fantastic work. So it's the order you do it in is really important, but also being perfect with what you do with it. Okay, we're going to look at one more thing to do with this, and then we're going to look at a puzzle, which I'm sure loads of your parents have tried to answer on Facebook. Did they get it right or not? So, next bit, okay? What if we wanted to do the 3 plus 4 first? Okay, what if we wanted to do 3 plus 4 and then multiply it by 2? We must be able to make it do that, because we might want to do that to work something out. Okay? Maybe these are the total people in each group, 3 plus 4, and we've got 2 groups. So we'd have 14 people in total. 3 girls, 4 boys in each group, and 2 groups. We do 3 plus 4 to give us 7, and then we times by 2. So we can use something which you probably would have seen before, and that is brackets. So brackets always go first. Brackets mean do this bit first. This is the first bit you need to do. So if I did this, if I wrote down 3 plus 4, and then times by 2, I put my brackets around the 3 plus 4. And that says to me, do the 3 plus 4, then times it by 2. So 3 plus 4 is 7, then times it by 2 gives me 14. So that's what a lot of you were doing in the first bit. You got 14 for that first question. It's these brackets there that make that work. Alright, so we're going to look at a mix of questions now with some brackets in. Remember, timing still counts as well. And there's quite a lot to remember with the order, isn't there? There's quite a lot. How do you remember what goes in what order? Well, this is where this handy word comes in. Okay, which is called BIDMAS. Okay, BIDMAS helps us remember the order to do things in. So, we work from left to right, because that's how we read. So we always do brackets first. Next up is indices. So your powers come next. Then we divide and multiply. Doesn't matter which one we do first in those, actually, that's why they're both in green. And the last things we do is add and subtract, just working from left to right. So this word is really useful because it reminds you what you do in what order. Brackets first, then indices, divide and multiply, and then add and subtract. BIDMAS, quite easy to remember. It definitely helps me do my maths in the right order. So think about that. Okay, I'll write that on the board as well to remind you if you want to copy it down or anything. And then I've got 12 questions to have a go at. Okay, these get really tough towards the end. Quite easy to start with. None of this is easy, but quite simple to start with. They get really, really challenging. So all of you should be challenged by this here. Okay, so those are the questions. Can everyone see those? Okay, so those are the questions there. So 1, 2, 3 working down like that. They get harder as you go along. There's some tough indices at the end. Let's see how many of these you can get right. Okay, I'm more interested in if you only do 6 and you get 6 out of 6, that is fantastic. Okay, I'd much rather you get 6 out of 6 than rush it and do 6 out of 12. Okay, it's about being as accurate as you can and not making any mistakes. Okay, and then we're going to look at a problem after this, and then it will probably be time for bingo after that. Okay, so let's work hard on these questions here. We've got brackets in there, we've got timesing, adding, and even some indices. Any problems, let me know. Okay, those that call it BIDMAS, okay, I'm sure a lot of you call this BIDMAS at primary school. The question is, does anyone know what the O stands for in BIDMAS? Do your teachers know what it stands for? They might say it stands for of, which isn't actually correct. It doesn't stand for of, because of is the same as timesing. So the O stands for an old-fashioned word for indices called order. But we don't use that word anymore. That's why BIDMAS is much better. So why don't you ask your teacher at school? Okay, maybe they've got a different suggestion for it, but suggest using BIDMAS instead of BIDMAS, because the O no one knows what it means. Okay, everyone just guesses. So BIDMAS is much better than BIDMAS. Okay, I was taught BIDMAS at school, and I'm old, And I still have no idea what the O stand for. Okay, so let's think about using BIDMAS rather than BODMAS. It means the same thing, but we know what the I stands for. Okay? Objective. What does objective mean? Someone said that's what the O stands for. Okay? BIDMAS, for me, is better because indices are words you will use all the way in high school, looking towards GCSE, and indices are powers. Okay, so try, as long as you know what the O stands for and it means the same as powers, that's fine, but BIDMAS for me makes more sense. Okay, right, let's go on with those anyway. Go there.
Yep.
Lots of 100% to the last one as well. Well done to, well, Jennifer Christie apparently got 100,000%. Not sure about that. But well done to, I think Fraser got 100%. We got even more than 100% here. Okay, we'll say that for percentage lesson, sorry. But loads of people getting all of those right. Fantastic.
Add 5 times.
What are we going to do first in that one?
I have no idea.
What do we always do first?
The times.
The times, that's right, good.
Okay. What?
So we do 5 times 3 first, don't
5
we?
times 3 equals 15.
And then we got to do 2 plus 15, haven't we?
2 plus 15 equals 17.
17, so 17 we got something there, yeah.
I'm trying to say this takes a bingo.
Okay, oh, we can get another one from the bingo if you want, that's fine. It's up to you.
I've drawn a waste paper.
Okay, okay. What about question 2 then?
2, 6
What do we do first in that one?
the times again.
Nope, she did the brackets first. If you see the brackets, you do what's in the brackets first. That's like a cosy little
I was
thing
looking
first.
at 4.
Oh, right, sorry, yeah, no, question 2, yeah. So you did the brackets first and that one, don't you?
2 add 5.
Is
10.
2 add 5, add 5.
2 add 5 equals 7.
And then what are you going to do?
Times it by 3.
Oh, your favourite times table, 7 times 3.
21.
There we go, brilliant, well done.
I can do 21 easily.
Okay, good job there.
Pardon?
Good job.
21.
If you can't see the numbers because they're blurry, so Holly, you can't see the numbers, if you just reload the video, you should get a better connection. Okay, if you just kind of refresh your browser or reload it, it'll come and you'll be able to see it.
10.
Okay, let me know if that fixes it. Dear Matthew says he'd like to do some extra maths with you.
Okay. Daddy, can you say that I'll give him a message to email?
Yep, yep. Okay, right, you can always come back to this, the video's saved, but I want to get on to the problems because some of you finished this, so I'm going to look at the answers, be really careful with those ones there. Okay, I'll try and put the explanation of how those ones work. I've seen ones that got wrong so many times, so let's have a look at how you've done with those. Okay, so those are your answers, going down 17, 21, 6, 40, 12, 3, 2, 24, this one here, I've done my 3 times 4 and written it down, which is 12. I've done my 2 times 3, written it down, which is 6. I then looked and said 12 plus 6 is 18. Same kind of thing with this one. I know that 3 squared is 9, and then need to do 2 times 9 gives me 18. And this one here, 2 times 3 is 6, and then to do 6 squared, which is 36. And finally, 20 plus 5 cubed means 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125, and then you get 145 at the end. Now, just to let you know how difficult this work can be, I often give this challenge to people at high school doing GCSE, because they've forgotten how to do this properly. And I say, if you get all of them right, I'll give you £1. Do you know how many pounds I've lost?
How many?
Lost £1 in all the times I've been doing it. Only one person got it right first time, because they rush it and think they're getting it all right. Okay, so we need to teach it again, and then they can do it. So remember this early. It's so important to remember your BIDMAS work. Okay, people that got 100% on that, unbelievable. Okay, seriously, you got 100%, 12 out of 12, fantastic work. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, and don't worry if you've not done all these. Okay, there's lots of different years. The people getting all these right might be in year 6, year 7 even. If you're just doing some of those and getting them correct, that's really, really important. Okay, we're teaching a lot of different age groups here. We're trying to do the best we can for it. Okay, so you use this a lot. Okay, you should always use BIDMAS. It always applies unless you're told to do it in a different order. So it might say, first add these numbers together and then times them. Otherwise, BIDMAS is always true. And people might say it's not, because they're not used to using it. They'll say you do this first, but you don't. BIDMAS always, always applies. So, looking at this puzzle now, okay, this was a famous puzzle that was put on Facebook, and you can tell by how it's written here, not even written well, and yet people still got this right. So this was a post on Facebook that came up to loads of people, and there's loads of puzzles like this, and it said 98% fails, which is obviously bad grammar there. Share first, only for geniuses. So this is only for geniuses, so if you're going to do this, you must be geniuses yourself. Answer fast if you are a genius. Don't answer fast. Take your time. So I want you to look at this puzzle and think, can you work out what the last line is? Okay? And we might have time to look at an even more tricky one than this afterwards. So have a go at that. Okay? See if you can work out the mystery line at the bottom. Please write some stuff down. So it's useful to write down what each thing equals. So if you've got your...
Okay then. So the milkshakes...
Shh, just here.
Burgers equals 5.
Yeah, stop checking out, please.
Okay.
Sorry to do McDonald's as well. I know we're not having much McDonald's at the moment, unfortunately. Do you want to keep your whiteboard here?
You've got 259. So 5, 10.
This can be an eye-opener for the parents out there as well that are always thinking they're getting these right when they're not. So,
2. Yeah. 10, 9, 2.
I haven't even worked it out yet myself. Oh, there's a lot of different answers. A lot of different answers here.
Where's my pen gone?
Think how many packs of fries there are there.
So
And don't forget BIDMAS, guys. BIDMAS always applies. So BIDMAS counts even in these puzzles. BIDMAS just counts. So when we read, think about the frozen thing.
so it's
Didn't make any sense at all, did it?
times 10 equals 20. Equals 20.
Good, yeah. But just think. A lot of you got fries equal 2, which is brilliant. Look how many packs of fries there are there.
1, 2 times 10. Daddy, just to let you know that actually the fries, I think the fries equals 2.
They do, yeah. For 2 packs of fries. There's only 1 pack of fries there, isn't there?
Yeah, so that equals 2.
And that equals 1, doesn't it? If 2 fries.
Yeah.
Okay, right, let's have a look. First of all, some brilliant answers there. If you've got 25, fantastic in terms of learning what we've done so far. That's what I was looking for that 25 answer is brilliant. Okay, let's just have a look. So, we know our milkshakes, we've got 3 milkshakes. I would love a McDonald's milkshake right now. I know everyone's making those kind of homemade McDonald's, which is great. I've tried it, but I'd love some proper McDonald's food. Right, so milkshakes are worth 10 each because you've got 3 of them. So 30 divided by 3 is 10. Your burgers, if you take away your milkshake from your 20, that's your 10. That leaves you with 10 for 2 burgers, so your burgers are worth 5. Okay, fantastic work. And then your fries. Now, your burgers plus double fries, okay, equal 9. So if you take away your 5 from your 9, you've got 4 left, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 packs of fries. So if 4 packs are worth 4, 1 pack of fries is just worth 1. So then at the bottom you've got this. Burger plus fries times milkshake. But we know to use BIDMAS. Whereas a lot of people would do 5 plus 1 and then times it by 10 to get 60. We know to do 1 times 10 is 10 plus 5 gives you 15. Okay? Right, we're going to look at one more problem like that and then we're playing bingo. This one is really tough. Okay, I will be so impressed. If anyone gets this problem right, I'm going to send out certificates to you. Okay, if anyone can get this one right with your first guess, you're getting certificates. Okay, I've stolen this one, so that's where it's from. But okay, hopefully you can see all that. Yep, that was good. Right, okay, so this one is really tough. This is worth certificates for your first guess. You get yourself a certificate. If anyone got 70 out there, remember you've got to make sure you are timesing and then adding because of BIDMAS. BIDMAS on this one as well. Okay, see how you get on. Think really carefully about that little guy at the end as well.
So I reckon that equals 30.
If you write down your things here, your shoes, yeah. Your shoes, what have you got? You got your person, yeah. You got your double burgers.
Burgers.
That's double burgers, yeah. And you got your single burger,
I reckon that they
and you probably got your single shoe as well. So work out all those different things equal. Have you worked out the shoes, yeah? Start with the shoes, yeah?
that equals 10.
Yeah. Well done, Fraser and Finn, for getting that one right again. Very impressive.
Okay. Look at the last one. So 1 shoe equals 5. So it's that little boy equals.
Looking good there.
That little boy equals.
I definitely write down each little thing what they all equal.
1 equals 5. So that equals equals 4. Times 1 equals 7. Add 5 equals 12.
12, let's see, I haven't worked it out yet. Have you definitely times it? Did you times them or did you add them?
I times those two.
You times those two and then add the shoe on?
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Just look at the boy at the bottom.
I
What's
did
he holding?
burger, then I put that, I knew that, so I did that. I did put burgers on. Because I said that the boy equals,
Think about what that whole boy is worth at the bottom.
oh there. Oh.
Yeah, that's fantastic what you did there. I can't believe you got that far. It's amazing. Honestly, yeah.
You confused me though.
No, I know. Everyone,
You confused me.
adults don't get this right. No one gets this right.
You just confused me.
Okay, sorry. Okay, right, so we've got time for bingo. I'm going to give the answer. I don't know what the answer is yet, so we've got loads of different answers. I have no idea what the answer is. Okay? We've got 17 there, 23. It could be what you said there. It could be what you said. I don't know what the answer is yet. Okay, right, so we're going to work out our shoes first. So the shoes, a pair of shoes is worth 10. So we know that one's on there. The man, if you take away the 10 from the 20, you've got 2 boys that are worth 10, so that's going to be 5 each for the boy. The double burger, if you take away the boy from there, take away the 5 from there, that leaves 8. So a pair of burgers is worth 4, so 1 burger is worth 2, and 1 shoe is worth 5. Now, here's a sneaky thing here. This boy here is wearing 2 shoes and he's holding 2 burgers. This boy is not worth 5, he's worth more than 5. So we've got the shoe at the end, so the shoe is worth 5, so it's 5 plus, now this boy, if I do some separate working out for the boy, so we've got a boy, which is 5. We've also got, he's wearing 2 shoes, so that's another 10. And then he's also carrying 2 burgers, so that's another 4. So this boy is actually worth 19. So it's 5 plus 19 times by a burger is 2, times by 2. So our total for that, we times first, so 19 times 2 is 38, plus your 5 gives you a ridiculous answer of 43. Okay? Incredibly hard. They're trying to trick you, they're being nasty. You would never ever get an exam question like that where they're being that sneaky with what they are doing. Maybe the McDonald's one before. So, did anybody get 43? Sophie Bell, 43. Cheryl Wilding, 43. Ashley Corbett, 43. Eve Dixie was Woods, 43. So we did get a few 43s there. Brilliant, brilliant work. Can those 4 people I called out that got 43s there, please? Can you please, the shoes aren't red. Those shoes are red, they're red. Sorry if you can't see, I think those shoes are red there. They're definitely the same shoes. Right, can you, if you got 43 and you want that certificate, please can you message Help Your Kids Maths, just give me your child's name, give me your own name if you're doing it yourself, after the lesson, and I will send some certificates over for problem solving skills. Right, but BIDMAS, the main thing is, those are different problems in themselves. The main thing is you are timesing before you add in. That is the biggest mistake that people make. Right, we are going to play bingo. We have 10 minutes left. If anyone will set up just for the bingo, no problems. And with BIDMAS, keep testing your parents. If you test your parents, first of all, you can catch them out. They might not know what BIDMAS is. Tell them, teach them. If you teach them how to do it, you won't forget yourself. It is one of the best ways to revise. to just teach someone else. I'm rubbish at washing. Okay, I'm terrible at putting washing in the washing machine. I do everything wrong. So Zoe, my wife, has taught my 6-year-old how to wash do the washing machine, and he's brilliant. Okay, so he is giving me lessons now every day on how to do the washing, which are brilliant. So I am learning as well. But please revise by teaching your parents. So we're going to play bingo slightly differently this week. Okay, you want a big grid of 9 boxes. Because we did a time lesson, some of you might have been there for that. You are going to write in here, you are going to write 9, either 1/2 past, 1/4 to, 1/4 past or o'clock, and they must be between 6 and 12. So you can have anything between 6 and 12 o'clock times in there. You can use digital time if you want, or you can write it in words. I don't mind at all. Okay? Use your whiteboard here.
I don't really understand what you
So
mean.
do you write times in the box? See those times I've got?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really.
Any times you want. So you can write any times you want in these boxes. So you could write 10:30 there, you could write 9:15, you could write 7:45. Any times you want can go in those boxes, okay? The ones you think are going to go up. The times must be between 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock.
Daddy,
Okay.
how am I going to fit 8:15
Well, you
there?
could do it in digital, so you could do 8:15.
I have no idea how to do digital.
We'll do it on a piece of paper then.
I'll do
Do it
it.
on a piece of
I'll
paper.
do digital.
Okay. If you couldn't see the shoes on the tablet on the last problem, don't worry about it. I'll post up some more of those problems for you to have a look at. There's loads of them all over the place. Okay, so you're just putting 9 times in there.
It's 7. I don't know how to write 7 o'clock in digital.
Which is 700.
Oh yeah, now.
Okay, yeah. Well, you just write 7 by itself.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put 4.
Okay, just give you another minute to write your times in for bingo. Change my hat. I'm running out of hats, guys.
8. 20. 8:20.
8:15. We're only doing 15s.
8:20.
We're only doing 1/4 and 1/4. Shall I just put some random ones in for you?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do 9:45. That's 9:45.
Yeah.
Okay, or 45 past 9. 11 o'clock. We'll do 12 o'clock. We'll do 10:30. That's 10:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do 9:30.
I can probably work
We'll do
out what time they are.
9:15.
I can probably
Okay.
work out what time they are. Not from 1:45, so I have 1:15 clock. Okay there. Bingo, bingo.
Alexa, play. Okay, are we all ready for our bingo? Okay, so you've got your grids and you've got your different times, 9 different times written on your grid, ready to go. Some very important rules. When you have just 2 squares left to go, so you've got 2 squares left to go for winning, okay? You need to stand up and say, shaky, shaky. If you're not shouting shaky, shaky, I can hear you from here. If you're not shouting shaky, shaky, it doesn't count. When you have 1 more to go, you're going to stand up and you're going to shout as loud as you can. Top banana!
Hey, top banana.
And obviously, when you win, you are going to shout bingo and post it on the chat as well. So if you are doing shaky, shaky, post your shaky, shaky on the chat so I know you are there and ready to go. Okay? So we are going to get going for bingo, and I'm going to show you the times on the board, and then you're going to work it out from that. Okay, let's move the clock over. I'm just going to make sure you can see the clock. Okay. There we go then. So first one, the first time I'm going to show on the board. The first time is this one. Little hand first, as always. Little hand is there in between 6 and 7. Big hand is pointing straight down. So think about what time that is. That is your first bingo card one. Okay, so we're looking at 6:30 or 6:30 if you're doing it in digital time. 6:30 is your first one for bingo. Okay, next one. Next one. Again, little hand first. The little hand is going to be just before 7. And this time the big hand is going to be pointing straight across at the 9. So think about what time that is. Think about what time that is. Remember, the winners are going to be part of a magic trick next lesson, next Friday, for the winners of this. Okay, so that one, if you missed it, was 6:45. Okay, next one, next one. Oh, I need to mix it up a bit. Little hand first, pointing directly at 7. Big hand straight to the top. Think about what time that is, please. That is your next one. Okay, easy one if you've got that written down. Remember, we're going for a full house. For a full house, please. Okay, next time, next time. You're going to leave the big hand there and move the little hand pointing straight down. So we've got that one pointing straight down there. Big hand at 12. Little hand is the important one pointing down to 6. Okay, next one. Moving right up to the top here. The little hand points to 11. Little hand to 11. Not to 11, so the little hand is halfway between 11 and 12. The big hand is straight down to 6. Think about what time that is there. Halfway between 11 and 12. Big hand straight down to 6. Next one, next one, next one, next one. Little hand is just past 10, just past it. Not on 10, not half between, just past it. Big hand is pointing all the way across to 3. Think about what time that is. Think about what time that is. So we're just past 10. We're quarter of the way through. So it is 10:15 or maybe 10:15 if you're in digital. Anyone doing well? Top banana already? Top banana and shaky shaky? Surely not. We are going for a full house, people.
I've got a bingo round here.
We are going for a full house. All 9 squares needed, not
bingo.
one row. I know. It's a full house, guys. We want all 9 blocks covered, okay? All 9. Okay, next one. Little hand straight at 11. Big hand straight the way up. We are looking at, of course, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. Next one. Little hand straight at 10. Big hand straight the way up. We are looking at, of course, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock for that one there. It's bingo magic. Okay, we've got tricky one. The little hand just past 6 o'clock, just past 6 o'clock. The big hand right the way across to 3. Think about what time that is. Think about what time that is. Okay, so we are looking, aren't we, at 6:15. 6:15 for that one there. Or digital, 6:15. Okay, next one. We've got little hand, almost at 12. We are almost at 12 o'clock. The party was 12. We are almost there. And the big hand is across to 9. So think about what time that is there. Okay, think about that in digital or in normal. So we're either looking at 11:45 or 11:45. How have you got a full house? Have we got a full house? Have I even called out 9 yet, have I? All 9 squares, guys, all 9 squares. The lesson will be finishing straight after bingo, so it should be just a few minutes. Right, next one, we've got straight at 8, straight at 12, straight at 8, straight at 12. So 8 o'clock. Next one, little hand at 12 and big hand at 12. So both hands pointing to 12. It must be 12 o'clock. Next one. This one is nearly at 10 o'clock, but not quite because the big hand is pointing at 9. We're not quite there yet, so we are nearly at 10 o'clock. Okay, so it's 9:45. Got that one, Theo. Nearly at 10 o'clock. Which one's nearly at 10 o'clock? We're looking at 9:45.
Oh, no, like this.
Okay, next one. Just past 11. So just past 11 for the little hand, and we're looking at quarter past. So we got quarter past 11. Quarter past 11 for that one there. Anyone getting close now? We've got a proper shaky, and we got some top bananas. We've got a bingo as well, and Finn and Fraser, bingo! We've got some shaky shakers, we've got some top bananas. Quite difficult to keep track when I'm on the board here. Right, we are going to go for, and we got another bingo from Debbie Finley and Elaine Jatt. It's bingo magic! Okay, guys. Right, well done, we will hold it there. Those people there, make sure you come back on Friday because I'm going to be asking you to take part in a magic trick. Those 3 people that got bingo there. Okay? We've done a lot of really advanced work today, a lot of stuff, and those problems on Facebook, you can do those now. So I might post a few of those up, those kind of things, just to test you out. Okay? Make sure that you are tuning in next week. We'll do a full set of lessons again, and I'll put you up some activities. I've got something I've been working on, just a little kind of a story and some puzzles to solve over the weekend for you as well. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. Okay. Enjoy your hair as well. I know I can't. And I will put a post. I'll put a link to the fundraising thing for the NHS for this. If you want to get involved and shave your own head, or just get it cut yourself and donate the money you save to the NHS. You don't need to do it at all. I realise money is difficult at the moment for a lot of people, but it's there just in case you need it. Okay? Right. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.
Daddy, you got to 200. You got to 285.
That's not bad, is it? Not bad. That's about what I can manage. Thank you for coming, everyone. I'm shutting off now.
I just need to do 8:15, 10:30 on 9.
Have a good weekend, everyone. Glad you enjoyed the bingo. Glad you enjoyed my hats. I need some more hats. I'm getting desperate now.